Hi, I'm Dave Wurzel, and you're watching PHTV4. This is Bookshelf, and on Bookshelf we look at a variety of books, a variety of categories that we'll recommend. These are new releases coming out in January of 2024, and with me to take a look at these new releases is Matt Makowski from Palos Heights Library, Head of Public Services. Matt pulled together a list and then left it to me, unfortunately, to kind of narrow it down a little bit and decide which ones we might highlight or focus on. And of course, Matt had input on make sure we talk about this or that book. Matt, thank you very much.
Of course, my pleasure.
I think the publishing world slows down a little bit in January. Is that correct?
Yeah, kind of after November
After
into
the
December,
holidays.
things kind of slow down, and then January, February usually a little slower, but we still have some good ones here.
Okay, and there are several good books to take a look at, and the usual big name authors. We'll mention those. They have their almost monthly book. Sometimes it seems like. All right, so the first category we're going to take a look at is psychological suspense thriller. Matt, what have you got for us?
So this is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. And in this one, Lana Farrar is a reclusive ex-movie star and one of the most famous women in the world. Every year, she invites her closest friends to escape the English weather and spend Easter on her idyllic Private Creek Island. But we found ourselves trapped there overnight. Our old friendships concealed hatred and a desire for revenge. What followed was a game of cat and mouse, a battle of wits full of twists and turns, building to an unforgettable climax. The night ended in violence and death, as one of us was found murdered. My name, so the story goes, is Elliot Chase, and I'm going to tell you a story unlike any you've ever heard.
It sounds like a classic, murder mystery. It has a little bit of that locked room feel to it.
Yeah, and this Alex Michaelides, he's a hot author, so
okay,
should be good.
So check out The Fury. That is January of 2024. The next category we're going to take a look at is suspense techno sci-fi thriller. I don't know what part of that. Every part of it is like, really? That's like a new genre here, I think. And we're going to look at Deep Freeze by Michael C. Grumley. The description of this book is really interesting because it has that sci-fi quality to it, but I don't know if it's supernatural, a little bit of the tech stuff. Anyway, the accident came quickly, with no warning. In the dead of night, a precipitous plunge into a freezing river trapped everyone inside the bus. It was then that Army veteran John Reef's life came to an end, extinguished in the sudden rush of frigid water. There was no expectation of survival, none, let alone waking up beneath blinding hospital lights, struggling to move, to see, even to breathe. But the doctors assure him that everything is normal, that things will improve. And yet, he has a strange feeling that there's something they're not telling him. And there we go.
It's interesting.
It is. It's interesting build-up. I've read books that deal with this premise before coming back to life, but the sci-fi techno element, interesting wrinkles here. Next category we're going to take a look at is, you ready for this? Betrayal, dysfunction, and ambiguous morals.
Indeed. Rachel Hawkins brings us The Heiress, described as a twisted new Gothic suspense about an infamous heiress and the complicated inheritance she left behind. There's nothing as good as the rich gone bad. When Ruby McTavish Callahan Woodward Miller Kenmore dies, she's not only North Carolina's richest woman, she's also its most notorious. The victim of a famous kidnapping as a child and a widow 4 times over, Ruby ruled the tiny town of Tavistock from Ashby House, her family's estate and high in the Blue Ridge Mountains. But in the aftermath of her death, her adopted son, Camden, wants little to do with the house or the money, and even less to do with the surviving McTavishes.
Okay. Has that feel a little bit of soap opera-like?
Yes.
There's some other intrigue going on here?
For sure.
Okay. All right, next category we're going to take a look at was described as a critic. And I love just the simple reality of this. Power, responsibility, and the bad choices we sometimes make. I don't know which of us couldn't ever kind of like, yeah, okay, that could be me. Mm-hmm. Come and Get It by Kylie Reed. This book was described as a fresh and provocative story about a residential assistant and her messy entanglement with a professor and 3 unruly students. It's 2017 at the University of Arkansas. Millie Cousins, a senior research resident assistant, wants to graduate, get a job, and buy a house. So when Agatha Paul, a visiting professor and writer, offers Millie an easy yet unusual opportunity, she jumps at the chance. But Millie's starry-eyed hustle becomes jeopardized by odd new friends, vengeful dorm pranks, and illicit intrigue. And I guess the red flag there is you have an unusual opportunity, and maybe we should or shouldn't jump at that thing.
Yep.
All right. Next category, we've got action-packed fantasy with a romance element in it. Yeah.
That's right. This is, one of the highlights of the romantasy genre that's really booming
Seems
these
like
days.
it's surging, that blend of fantasy and romance.
Yes, yes. So this is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. The stunning third book in the sexy, action-packed Crescent City series.
Did you really just say that?
I did say that. That's the description. We got to say it. Bryce Quinlan never expected to see a world other than Midgard, but now that she has, all she wants is to get back. Everything she loves is in Midgard. Her family, her friends, her mate. Stranded in a strange new world, she's going to need all her wits about her to get home again. And that's no easy feat when she has no idea who to trust. The Crescent City series reaches new heights as Bryce and Hunt's world is brought to the brink of collapse with its future resting on their shoulders.
Okay.
People love these series by her, so.
Okay. And the third, so obviously it's a hit and it's working for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
maybe something we should check out if you haven't checked this series out yet. Next category we're going to look at, I love this title. I don't think I'd ever have seen any of these four words put together, especially the first two. Rural noir. A couple critics described it that way, and then somebody tagged in there, muddy and bloody. This is The Waters by Bonnie Jo Campbell. A fierce and mesmerizing novel about exceptional women and the soul of a small town. On an island in the great Massasauga Swamp, an area known as The Waters to the residents of nearby White Hart, Michigan, herbalist and eccentric Ermine herself, Zook, has healed the local women of their ailments for generations. As stubborn as her tonics are powerful, herself inspires reverence and fear in the people of White Hart, and even in her own three estranged daughters. The youngest, the beautiful, inscrutable, and lazy Rose Thorne, has left her own daughter, 11-year-old Dorothy Donkey Zonk, to grow up wild. Sounds like an interesting cast of characters, and certainly the setting is unique.
Yes, yes indeed.
All right, and then the last book we're going to take, we'll highlight a few others, but we'll focus on one more here. This one is number 5 in a series, Murder and Suspense.
Yeah, it's The Missing Witness by Allison Brennan. She's pretty popular these days. When a key witness goes missing, Quinn and Costa must find her before a killer silences her for good. Detective Kara Quinn is back in Los Angeles to testify against a notorious human trafficker, finally moving past the case that upended her life. But when the accused is shot in broad daylight, the chaotic scene of the crime turns up few reliable bystanders, and one witness, a whistleblower, who might be the key to everything, has disappeared. Now, with FBI Special Agent Matt Costa's help, she must race to find the missing witness and to get to the bottom of the avalanche of conspiracies that has rocked LA to its core before it's too late.
I like it. And there's a murder, suspense, and there's a time element here.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so those are some of the books we want to highlight for January 2024, but we do have the other big name authors, as we mentioned. Missing Persons by James Patterson is coming out in January. Upside Down, Danielle Steele, another very familiar name. Dean Koontz, another horror suspense writer, element of mystery. Sometimes he's got The Bad Weather Friend coming out. And there's also James Lee Burke, Harbor Lights. And obviously several other books, but those are some of the big names and some books that we think maybe are worth taking a look at.
Yeah, check it out.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Thanks for putting the list together, and thank you for highlighting some of these books with us.
Very good.
I'm Dave Wurzel, and you've been watching PHTV4 Bookshelf, and we've been taking a look at January 2024 releases. Thank you for watching.